And good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of DMS 3000 News Live. It's episode 80 on this December 4th, 2023. Monday afternoon is here for another week, and we are in our 12th month of the year, the final month of 2023, December. Yeah, we've made it, folks. Here we are. Another year gone, and within 27 days, we will have New Year's Eve. But right now, we have December 4th today. This is a Monday, and hope you had a fantastic weekend. And you were wondering to yourself, where was he? And including, where was I? And I will give you a little bit of that in the important information. But right now, we've got some fantastic articles and everything. Of course, I am Jason DeCanio, the host of DMS 3000 News Live, and this is episode 80. Today, we're going to be looking at some fantastic topics, a little one of a sad one of a note that happened over the course of Black Friday a week ago, where Marty Krofft of the brothers Sid and Marty Krofft died at the age of 86. It's interesting to note he was the baby of the two brothers. His older brother, Sid, is still alive and in his 90s. At the current moment, I think Sid is 93 years of age. So a 7-year difference between the two brothers. Marty Krofft will look at his fantastic life. If you've grew up with Land of the Lost or the Bugaloos or HR Pufnstuf, any of those shows, or, Saturday Morning Supercade, that's where we're going to be going with that particular gentleman who gave us great cartoons, animation, and live shows all throughout the 70s. And then we're going to look at the best book of the year according to Barnes & Noble and Amazon. For you avid book friends out there, of course, Mondays we like to look at some of the books, and we'll give you some of those fantastic titles that you might want to delve into this month especially, and around the holidays as well. And this woman said she stopped hiding her disability and it opened up new worlds. If you have some kind of disability or something that's preventing you from going out into the world, this is your opportunity to hear an interesting, inspiring story about a lady who just did that. And we'll go ahead and share that toward the end of the program. Okay? So we'll see how she went ahead and finally exposed her disability to all without shame, and how she's doing nowadays. Plus the headlines, sports, and other important information. Today is Monday, so it's also news of the weird. What day is today? And of course, we have our motivation of the day as well, too. And don't forget to check out new episodes of Chilling 3000 Hangouts Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern on the David 3000 Network. And of course, new episodes of Wipe Those Tears Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on StreamYard and on the David 3000 Network. And of course, I've got a little bit of another tidbit as well to share with you as well. But right now, before we go that route, we're going to look at the headlines, sports, and other important information. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with you. Of course, our headlines come from the U.S. News and World Headlines for, of course, NPR. And we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Whoops. Let me take that off so you can all see. That would be better. I've got the screen up ready to go. And we're ready for that first headline. Companies say they're closing in on nuclear fusion as an energy source. Will it work? Well, for decades, government scientists have toiled away trying to make nuclear fusion work. Will commercial companies sprint to the finish? Only time will tell. Longtime Fresh Air contributor Dave Davies signs off, sort of. Well, after 22 years with the show, Davies is cutting back on his workload. He chats with Terry Gross about some of his most memorable interviews and the preparation that goes into each conversation. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum announces he's dropping out of the presidential race. And while he did not provide a clear reason for the suspension of his campaign, Bergman did lodge criticisms at the RNC for its debate rules in his Monday morning announcement. And the U.S. is running out of money for Ukraine, the White House warns. Kiev's war effort to defend itself from Russia's invasion may grind to a halt without tens of billions of dollars of military and economic assistance, the Biden administration told Congress. Muppets from Sesame Workshop help explain opioid addiction to young children. The educational nonprofit behind Sesame Street has created videos and stories for caregivers or therapists to share with kids 6 and under and to help explain addiction or why parents need treatment. And if Taylor Swift is living in Kansas City, here's what locals say she should know. Now, even if you don't know burnt ends from a short end, here's a brief introduction for Taylor Swift and the rest of the world to understanding Kansas City and what makes it so enchanting. Spotify is to cut 17% of staff in the latest round of tech layoffs. In a memo addressed to staff, CEO Daniel E.K. said it was necessary for the company to right-size after hiring too many people during 2020 and 2021. Roughly 1,500 workers are likely to be let go. UN climate talks had since no science backs ending fossil fuels. Well, that's incorrect. The comments came shortly before talks kicked off in Dubai. In reality, scientists warned that further fossil fuel development is driving global warming. And let's see. Divers find wreckage and remains from Osprey aircraft that crashed off of Japan. The CV-22 Osprey, carrying 8 American personnel, crashed last Wednesday off Yakushima Island during a training mission. Democracy is at stake if Trump is reelected, Liz Cheney warns in her new book. Liz Cheney's book, Oath and Honor, a memoir and a warning, slams Trump's efforts to stay in power after 2020 and the Republicans who enabled him. She tells NPR why voters should mobilize against him. Opening arguments begin in Jonathan Majors' trial. The actor, whose Hollywood prospects have been dimmed by accusations of assault, will face a jury in Manhattan court as opening arguments of his trial begin. And Israeli forces push into southern Gaza as humanitarian crisis worsens. As Israel's military begins to concentrate its siege in southern Gaza, a United Nations agency warns that the people there could soon begin dying from diseases as well as Israel's bombardment. Purdue Pharma, Sackler's OxyContin settlement lands at the Supreme Court. Under the deal, Purdue agreed it owed $8 billion in criminal and civil fines. That deal was at the center of Monday's case because it releases the Sacklers from personal liability. Queen Latifah, Billy Crystal, and others celebrated at the Kennedy Center honors as Billy Crystal, Dionne Warwick, Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees, Renee Fleming, and Queen Latifah were given the star treatment as they received their Kennedy Center honors. 11 bodies recovered after Indonesian volcanic eruption as 12 climbers remain missing. About 75 climbers had started their way up the nearly 9,480-foot mountain on Saturday and became stranded before Marapai spewed thick columns of ash on Sunday. Was that Marapai? Marapai, yes. Okay, I want to make sure I pronounce it. If it's the wrong pronouncing, I apologize. If you give me the right pronouncing, that'll be fine. India's ruling party wins 3 of 4 states in elections and a boost for prime minister. India's ruling Hindu Nationalist Party won in 3 of 4 state elections in a vote that pitted the main opposition against that of Prime Minister Narendra Modi before national polls next year. And undefeated Florida State is left out of a 4-team college football playoff. It's Michigan versus Alabama and Washington versus Texas for the final season of the 4-team college football playoff format before the tournament grows to a field of 12 next year. Alaska Airlines to buy Hawaii Airlines in a deal that may attract regulator scrutiny. Alaska Airlines said it agreed to buy Hawaiian Airlines in a $1.9 billion deal, including debt, putting it on a track for a potential clash with the Biden administration. Palestinian student shot in Vermont is paralyzed from chest down, his family says. The The 20-year-old Hisham Awartani is scheduled to be released from the hospital next week and begin a long recovery after one of the gunman's bullets lodged in his spine. Houthi missiles strike commercial ships in Red Sea, while U.S. warship downs drones. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels launched a series of attacks on vessels in the Red Sea, as well as launching drones and missiles targeting Israel as it wages war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And there you have it, friends. The headlines for today for Monday, December 4th, 2023. All right. Now, let's go ahead, get you on to the sports scores. We've got NBA scores coming up first. Let's look at that. And we have some finals as of this past weekend. So let's go to those games and take a look. I don't think there was anything yesterday, so we'll look at all the games on Saturday. It was the Clippers over the Warriors, 113 to 112. The Timberwolves defeated the Hornets, 123 to 117. Cavaliers over the Pistons, 110 to 101. It was the Nets whomping the Magic, who are playing fantastic, by the way, but just can't get over to beat the Nets, unfortunately. Nets beat them 129 to 101. It was the Bulls over the Pelicans, 124 to 118. Pacers over the Heat, 144 to 129. Bucks taking care of the Hawks, 132 to 121. It was the Thunder over the Magic, Thunder over the Mavericks, 126 to 120. Suns take care of the Grizzlies in Phoenix, 116 to 109. The Jazz take care of the Trailblazers in Utah, 118 to 113. The Kings upset the Nuggets, 123 to 117 in Sacramento. And the Lakers take care of the Rockets by 10, 107 to 97. So these games are in-season tournament quarterfinals starting tonight. You have the Celtics and Pacers in Indiana. The Pelicans will host the Kings in Sacramento. The Knicks will go to Milwaukee to tip off with the Bucks at 7:30. Pelicans will go at 10 o'clock. And the Suns and the Lakers tonight, it's 4 games. Suns and the Lakers at 10 o'clock in the Staples Center in L.A. All right, let's now go to Let's go now to NHL scores, get you up to date with those. These were finals yesterday on Sunday. Let's actually take a look at the games from Saturday night, December 2nd, because we weren't here. Stars beat the Lightning 8-1 on Saturday night. It was the Jets 3, Blackhawks 1. Rangers over the Predators 4-3. The Islanders over the Panthers 4-3. The Senators take care of the Krakens 2-0. It was the Bruins over the Maple Leafs 4-3 in OT. Each team gets a point. The Hurricanes 6, Sabres 2. In OT, the Red Wings 5, the Canadiens 4. In a shootout, the Flyers beat the Penguins 4-3 in a battle of the Philadelphia team and the Pennsylvania teams. Coyotes over the Blues 4-1. Ducks over the Avalanche 4-3. Canucks 4, Flames 3, and the Golden Knights take care of the Capitals 4-1. Then on Sunday, the Wild defeat the Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks can't win for garbage. They win 4-1. Rangers 6, Sharks 5. Predators 2, Sabres 1. It was the Bruins over the Blue Jackets 3-1. And the Kings beat the Avalanche 4-1. Tonight's games have the Stars at the Lightning at 7 o'clock. Penguins will visit the Flyers in the Battle of the Pennsylvania Teams Part 2. Yes. Hurricanes go to Winnipeg to face the Jets. Kraken will go to Montreal to face the Canadiens. Face off with the Capitals and the Coyotes at 9 o'clock. And the Blues and the Golden Knights at 10 o'clock in Vegas. We won't give you any of the football scores until tomorrow, but we will tell you about the Monday night game, by the way. Tonight's Monday night game is a really good one here. Let's see. Just for giggles and stuff, it's going to be the Bengals and the Jaguars tonight at 8:15. So kickoff is in about 4 hours from now. So we'll give you all the scores, including what happened on Thursday night's NFL Thursday Night Football. And don't forget to tune in to Let's Talk Football this coming Wednesday at 7:30 on StreamYard and the David 3000 Network as well. All right, so now I have some important information for you. I'm going to take on for you as well. And one of the things that's important on the information situation is the last week I didn't do the other 3 shows that I was going to do. I had taken the rest of the week off. Something came up and I needed to resolve that issue. It's not something I would wish to discuss here on the air, but I'm okay. I touched base with David over the course of last week and was feeling much better over the weekend. So sometimes you just need to walk away from the situation. I know that's last minute. We already had a show ready to go on Wednesday, but something had come up last minute. And when you're ready to go, you're trying to get on the air and do everything you can. But at this moment in time, unfortunately, it didn't happen. So I would like to apologize for not being here last week over the course of the 3 shows that was to air, but we are going to pick up where we left off, and this is episode 80. Now, another great important information is that I had finished week 1 of Weight Watchers, and I told you I started on a weight loss journey, as they say, and my starting weight was 331 pounds. Well, week 1 is finished, and now I'm on week number 2. And here is how much I currently weigh and how much I lost. How I currently weigh 324.5 pounds. So I lost 7.5 pounds my first week of Weight Watchers. Is that fantastic or what? I feel great. Do I look any different? Maybe I do. Always, for me, and I said this last week for accountability purposes, look at my face. When you start seeing my face start shrinking, that's when you know I'm starting to lose weight. So you really can't see it in my gut because you can't even see anything where my webcam is only showing my face and probably like the upper part of my body right here. So look at it in my face and you'll see a whole different way which we're going. Is my face is going to start shrinking. It'd be like he lost his face. Well, maybe I did. But that was the issue. So there you have it, friends. 324.5 pounds total right now. Lost 7.5 pounds. I feel fantastic so far, but I've got a long way to go. My goal was 180, as that means I have to lose a grand total of 142.5 pounds in order to get there. So join me on this fantastic voyage, and you will see numbers next week. And if I gained anything back, you'll see it as well too. So the current weight 324.5, or lost 7.5 pounds. Boy, and again, that's not just from Weight Watchers. It's also from cutting back on a lot of things that I didn't need to stuff my face with to make me fat. And we'll talk a little more about that for more motivation toward the end of the program. Okay, when we come back, we're going to look at News of the Weird and what day is today, and then start the first of many articles with a look at Marty Krofft of the brothers Sid and Marty, who died at the age of 86. We'll be right back. 4:19 right now, and stay tuned.
Got a Christmas story to tell, and you really want to tell it well. Get it, don't forget it, on Kodak Film. You'll feel better when you say I got it.
Every picture tells a story. Capture the color of Christmas this year on fresh Kodak film.
I got it!
I gotta say I got it.
I got it!
Kodak wishes you some merry, merry pictures.
Atari would like to thank you
for taking us into your homes. We wish you all a happy holiday.
Hi, how are you again?
I have some last-minute gift problems.
Don't worry. Hickory Farms has over 100 gift packs. Gifts with mild cheddar cheese, smoky bar cheese. We are the super cheese market.
Yes, but
and Hickory Farms specialties like beef stick and sweet hot mustard.
Look, I'll just put myself in your hands.
Okay. Let's see. It's 14 L's.
Mm-hmm.
How many reindeer?
Well, there's Dasher and Dancer and Prancer.
Merry Christmas, Merry Merry Christmas from your Kmart Christmas store. Save on sweaters and on hats, bowling balls and baseball bats.
Cameras, TVs, bikes and plants, goldfish, bath toys, slippers, pants.
Mirrors, dresses, perfume, socks, toasters, roasters, robes and clocks. Candy, records, films and toys at Santa Land for girls and boys. Christmas smiles light every place at Kmart's Christmas saving place.
On the first day of Christmas, I left the Hallmark store
With a stuffed toy named Rodney Reindeer.
On the next day, I bought Rhonda, and then I added more.
Now five to the song before, dance with Rhonda. Hallmark, thank you. 3 floppy toys, 2 girls and boys, 1 more for the treat, and a stuffed toy named Rodney Reindeer.
Give Rodney and Rhonda reindeer this Christmas. They're only at Hallmark.
Friday, a holiday tradition for 21 years.
I've killed it.
It's time once again for America's favorite Charlie Brown adventure. It's an Emmy Award-winning special. It's a Charlie Brown Christmas. Then he's back, the original cool guy. And this time he's gonna melt your heart. So chill out with Frosty the Snowman. Share the holiday spirit Friday on CBS.
And have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
Tommy, guess what? What? He was here. He knows. Really? Tommy? Come on, come on. See? Even he knows Sprite won the taste test.
Well, it's time now for News of the Weird. Yes, it is. And we're ready, of course, the editors at Andrews McNeil Syndication for the week of December 1st, 2023. They were hard at work, ready to go. They took some time off, of course, for Thanksgiving to spend time with their family. And, of course, I know Chuck Shepard, who has been retired since, is enjoying every bit of the holidays with his family as well. Well, they had the lead story for this week's News of the Weird, and the title, of course, is Awesome. That's right. And here we are. So get those pencils and pens, okay, Google Forms, ready. The Tampa Bay Times is inviting readers and anyone else around the world to submit their grievances, the best of which the Times will publish to celebrate Festivus on December 23rd. United Press International reported that this will be the 8th year for the Times airing of grievances, and the custom is one feature of the holiday, which was introduced on Seinfeld's episode in 1997. You might also remember the unadorned metal pole and feats of strength. Happy Festivus, everyone. There you go. Well, Ann Arbor, Michigan, police chased a stolen 17-ton forklift through city streets for an hour on November 25th, NBC News reported, in what they called a very dangerous situation, especially so since the driver was a 12-year-old boy. The boy allegedly found the construction vehicle outside Forsyth Middle School with the keys inside. And while no one was injured, the forklift struck 10 cars as it crawled through neighborhoods with law enforcement in pursuit. At one point, Officers warned other cars that he was lowering the hooks. Don't go in front of it. The boy was taken into custody and moved to a juvenile detention center. Aww. Well, I'm having it my way, appeared to be the message from a large inflatable Burger King Whopper that came loose outside a restaurant in Newberg, Oregon, and took off through the windy streets. KOIN TV or Coin TV reported that the sandwich began its journey around 7 a.m. on November 11th and crashed into a smoke shop before hitting an American flag and other businesses. Amy Kepler of the Newberg Police Department said that, strangely, they didn't receive any 911 calls about the burger and no injuries or damage were reported to police. It happened very quickly and did not affect traffic, she said. 44-year-old Sandra Jimenez is cooling her heels at the Turner Guilford Night Correction Center in Miami, Florida, after she attacked her boyfriend of 8 years on November 25th at their home, Fox 35 TV reported. According to the victim, as the couple argued about him looking at other women, Jimenez allegedly jumped on him as he lay on the couch and stabbed him in the right eye with one of her dog's rabies shot needles. Ooh! She then left the house and he called police, who took him to the hospital. Officers later found her asleep in a vehicle outside the home and arrested her for aggravated battery. Jimenez told them her boyfriend's injuries were self-inflicted. Yeah, right. 70-year-old Iris Logan converted her front yard in St. Paul, Minnesota into an expression of her individuality more than 30 years ago, the Associated Press reported. But the city inspector is fed up with her stones, statues, and decorative art and has given her until December 22nd to clear it out. I'm a rock lover, Logan said. If I see a rock I like, I try and roll it in my car on a 2x4. A petition supporting Logan gained 150 signatures. It's not just about aesthetics, says Justin Lewandowski, a community organizer. It's about our identity and how we as residents engage with each other and with city policy. Kansans, emboldened by their vote to keep abortion legal in 2022, have spoken again. And then on November 28th, Governor Laura Kelly announced that the state will halt production on the ugly as sin new license plates that were all supposed to roll out in 2024. Fox News reported that some drivers balked at the design because it too closely resembled the University of Missouri's colors. Others thought the gold and black plate was Kelly's nod to New York, her home state, and others called it slapdash and dough. The governor has promised a future public vote on possible new designs. There you go. Only in 2023. Well, November 28th, as a big gust of wind whirled through Washington, D.C., the fully decorated National Christmas tree was blown over, WUSA TV reported. The National Park Service had to replace a snapped cable and install reinforcement cables and concrete blocks to secure the tree, but the lighting ceremony went on as planned on November 30th. A woman flying from Orlando to Philadelphia on November 20th on Frontier Airlines apparently couldn't hold it another second, WKRC TV reported. Sorry, everybody, she said in the video captured by traveler Julie Hartman before pulling her pants down and squatting in the aisle to urinate. According to the woman, she had been told by a flight attendant that she couldn't use the restroom. One woman on the video can be heard saying, "That poor little boy," about a child sitting next to the spot where the woman squatted. Oh, wow. And a 35-year-old man from Vietnam went to the hospital in Dong Hoai on November 24th with several severe headaches, fluid discharge, and loss of vision, Metro News reported. When doctors did a CT scan, they discovered two broken chopsticks that were penetrating into his skull from the nose. Oh. Apparently the man has been in a fight several other months before and didn't remember much about it, but said he thought something might have been stabbed into his face. Surgeons removed the chopsticks and the patient is recovering. Okay, that's good to know. As a man in Xiamen, China, used the smart toilet in his home on November 10th, he first smelled smoke right before the toilet burst into flames. He didn't have time to pull his shorts back up, but he did manage to capture pictures of the toilet with flames emerging from the bowl. Oddity Central reported that the owner believed a short circuit was to blame. Other incidents of toilets bursting into flame in China have been reported over the last 2 years. Bursting ring of fire, indeed. Oh, oddity. Talk about your deep-fried egg roll. Yeah. 32-year-old Christopher Boyd was riding in a car on November 27th in Evansville, Indiana, where it was pulled over for an obscured license plate. The smoking gun reported, and Boyd was patted down, and officers found a small bag with multiple pills in his sock. Boyd told them he uses Percocet for pain from a bullet lodged in his spine. Police noticed he tensed up when being searched in his groin area. They asked if he had anything stuffed in his groin or buttocks, and he said he did not. But when they arrived at the station, Boyd was walking with a limp and appeared to be clenching his buttocks. A trip through a scanner identified a large object, a Smith & Wesson handgun of about 5 inches in length, in his rectum. Oh! The manufacturer does claim the pistol is perfectly suited for concealed carry. It was not reported whether the weapon was loaded, and Boyd also has 2 plastic bags of marijuana tucked next to his scrotum. Oh! He was booked into the Vandenberg County Jail smoking gun section. Oh my God. Send your weird news items with subject line weird news to weird news tips at amuniversal.com, and of course to the editors at Andrews McNeil Syndication, uexpress.com, and of course News of the Weird. Yes. Once again, let's see. How big is the tree? Needs cables. Yeah. And then bad smart toilet. Yeah, that's for sure. And how do you get a gun in your butt? It's simple. You stick it up there where the sun don't shine. Thank you, sales pitch. Appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Only, it kind of gets to that point when you really think about it, but at the same time, you realize we'll do anything to get on the news these days. All right, let's look at what holiday is today. That's what's coming up next. The National Today, and let's see what we have. Anything good for December? Let's see. Somebody said it was National Cookie Day. I could be wrong about that. Let's see. International Cheetah Day. Yes, today is National Cookie Day. All right, let's take a look and see what we have, you cookie lovers out there, including Cookie Monster himself. Yes, it's celebrated every December 4th, so get ready to refill your cookie jar. Maybe you prefer your cookies to have a crunchy snap, or maybe you'd rather bite into soft and chewy, sugary heaven. Well, either way, eating cookies brings us happiness, and we should all do it more often. Just don't tell your doctor. Now, in America, a cookie is described as a thin, sweet, small cake. By definition, a cookie can be a variety of handheld, flour-based sweet cakes, either crisp or soft, and each country has its own word for cookie. In England and Australia, they're referred to as biscuits. In Spain, they're called gelatas. Germans call them keks. And in Italy, they have several names to identify the various forms of cookie. In America, the Dutch word koekje or koekje was angelicized to cookie. Okay, so it's Dutch. The sweet treat came to America through the Dutch in New Amsterdam in the late 1620s. The earliest reference to cookies in America is in 1703, when the Dutch in New York provided 800 cookies for a funeral. There you go. Now, I wouldn't mind having that at my funeral either. Hard cookie-like wafers have existed for a long and maybe even longer as baking has been documented. However, they were not sweet enough to be considered cookies by modern standards. They appeared to have some origins in 7th century CE Persia, shortly after the use of sugar that became relatively common in the region. They spread to Europe throughout the Muslim conquest of Spain, and by the 14th century, they were common in all levels of society throughout Europe, and from royal cuisine to street vendors. And with global travel becoming widespread at that time, cookies made a natural travel snack. A modernized equivalent of the travel cakes consumed throughout history. One of the most popular early cookies, which traveled especially well and became known on every continent by similar names, was the Jumble, a relatively hard cookie made largely from nuts, sweetener, and water. So, 1853, Godfrey Keebler opened his neighborhood bakery in Philadelphia. He was the original Keebler elf. Oreos, which were originally made as a knockoff of the first chocolate sandwich cookie called Hydrox, made its way to the stores in 1912. Toll House cookies, you all know about them. Well, Ruth Wakefield, who ran the popular Toll House restaurant in Whitman, Massachusetts, brought the Toll House cookie, Crunch Cookie, into being, which is considered the first chocolate chip cookie. And then 1963, Chips Ahoy debuted their cookie brand in 1963. Now we're looking at almost 70 years. Their anniversary is today. In fact, we'll be talking about them, giving them more of a cookie tour tomorrow on the program. Even though it won't be National Cookie Day tomorrow, that's okay. I give you a little bit of a timeline because why not talk about our favorite cookie? But here's how today's data science team surveyed 1,000 people about their National Cookie Day plans. 35%, it's true. Oreos are America's favorite brand of cookie picked overall. 1 in 3 people like Oreos. And while a plurality pick Oreo as their favorite brand, the majority of Americans prefer a chewier cookie. Well, you can always eat chewy Chips Ahoy and be satisfied. Here's the battle of the genders. In women, these are the trends that they do. They only eat cookies a couple times a week at most, 33%. 21% once every couple of weeks. 17% once a week. 11% once a day. 9% once every couple of months. 8% more than once a day. And 2% once a year or less. For men, well, it's a little more different. They still rank them a couple times a week at 33%, 18% once every couple of weeks, 10% at once a week, 15% once a day, 9% once every couple of months, 14% more than once a day, and 2% once a year or less. Here are some fun facts for you. 54%, that's more than half of Americans, prefer homemade cookies. Nearly 1 in 10 Americans have never baked their own cookies, so that's about 7%, or 7 out of 10. And 43% are more than one kind of, or 1/3 of Americans have finished a whole row of Oreos in one sitting. All I can remember one day was I polished off a whole bag. Was I still hungry? Probably. But I could tell that I polished it off because it was so good. That's why. Not anymore. Now we're on Weight Watchers. Okay, so today on these Cookie Day activities, you're going to find the best cookie near you. There's a bakery hiding in your neighborhood with the best darn cookies you've never had. So ask some friends and consult Yelp to find the best cookie in your neck of the woods. And make a new kind of a cookie. You know, most of the famous cookies, and we're looking at chocolate chip, were the result of Happy accidents in the kitchen. Try some experimenting on your next batch to see where you land. And have a charity bake-off. If you're really looking to make this National Cookie Day count, you could get ambitious and host a charity bake-off, donating the funds raised to your favorite local charity. And then, of course, there's a quiz, but we'll take that probably tomorrow. So I want to finish out with the 5 healthy cookies to satisfy your sweet tooth on National Cookie Days. Lemon ricotta cookies with lemon glaze. I don't know if you like lemon or not, but I like lemon cookies, but I also like lemon pie more than I like cookies or lemon cake. But put the ricotta in the batter to create a cookie that's beautiful and tender. The finish, a sweet tart glaze, contributes towards a melt-in-your-mouth delicious cookie. Look up a recipe as it's low in calories and high in taste. What more could you want? Cherry almond chocolate clusters. So why not try an antioxidant-loaded cookie composed of dark chocolate, toasted chopped almonds, and dried cranberries? The cherry's strong flavor perfectly offsets the nuts and chocolate, creating a well-balanced cookie. Almond snowballs. We recommend baking some almond-flavored cookies with shredded coconut, which, with the right ingredients, come in at just 64 calories. For an added twist, you can include slivered almonds and a half-candied cherry. And for all you macaroon lovers out there are lots of healthy recipes for chocolate macaroons online, with some coming in at just 54 calories each. Happy chewing. And how about some no-bake chewy truffle cookies? There are some great recipes online for no-bake chewy truffle cookies that come loaded with dried dates and are bound together by cocoa powder, reduced fat peanut butter, and a little bit of butter. So if you want to try something different, then this is the way to go. And why we love National Cookie Day. Oatmeal, chocolate chip, sugar cookies. Yes, they can't all be the best cookie, but any of them could certainly be someone's favorite. And with the vast variety of cookie types across the globe, you're bound to get 10 different answers if you ask 10 different people. And of course, come on, they're delicious. Does this one really need any elaboration? No. We've all got fond memories filled with nostalgia of eating cookies as a youngster, and for most of us, that love of cookies never left us. They make it easy to pace yourself. If you bake a massive cake, it's easier to eat too much. So think about it. Even after cutting out a massive slice, there's still a ton of cake left, and it barely looks like you've made a dent. With cookies, it's easier to stop at one, though no one ever does. Ha 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 ha. And there you have it, friends. National Cookie Day in all of its glory. Great stuff there. Let's see if there's any other food days today. I don't think so. Sometimes you have to look at these things. Doesn't say. Okay, well. Ooh, okay. Nope, I haven't seen anything there. All right, that's it for today on what day is today, so not too bad. Okay, well, it's 4:44 right now, 15 minutes to 5 o'clock, so when we come back, we'll look at our first article of today, and yes. Yes, and we have some comments here. Let's see. I like the weird news. Well, thank you, Sales Pitch. We have weird news every Monday right after, of course, the headlines, sports, and other important information. Says, I am Dutch. My great-grandpa said we came up with the cookie name. Cool. And to this day, the Dutch make some really good Dutch chocolate cookies, especially if you've ever had those sugar cookies. The jumble is so good. All right. And of course, Emu says, what? Well, it's double stuffed. I don't know if you guys are referring to the Oreo, I guess. I make my own this time of year. Candy cane cookies. Ooh, peppermint flavored. Nice. Yes. Lemon pie is good. I am now hungry for lemon cookies. Stop. This sugar is the best cookie. Yes, sugar cookies. my grandmother actually has the recipe. It calls for Crisco. That lard stuff. That's the best stuff for making sugar cookies, because when you make your sugar cookies with Crisco, you get those little lumps and peaks. So your sugar cookie looks like a mountain of deliciousness. And boy, do they taste so good. Yes. Yeah. Was the toilet on the fire story? Yeah. It didn't realize there was a spark in the electrical system on the toilet bowl there, Emu. I'll explain that story a little bit later on toward the end of the program. But yeah, we got to go to commercial. We're having a fun time here. Thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to look at our first story on the passing of Marty Krofft, of Sid and Marty Krofft, who passed away at the age of 86. We'll be right back.
I feel like I want to be feeling. Look at the smile on my lips. I've got that M&M's feeling right at my fingertips. So carefree, they fit any plan. Milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand. You wanna grab on to that M&M's feeling.
There's lots of folks you shouldn't forget.
When giving McDonald's gift certificates,
The paper boy who delivers through thick and thin.
the lady who teaches your son violin,
The barber who cuts your hair just right.
the sitter who sat for you Saturday night.
Say Merry Christmas with McDonald's gift certificates.
Each cost 50 cents.
And a book of 10 costs $5.
At McDonald's, we do it all for you.
If anybody loves trains, it's me, Johnny Cash. If your boy's under 10 like mine is, he needs a big Lionel like this Black River Freight. Lionel also makes HO gauge trains for older kids, like this Burlington 181. But for smaller hands, the big Lionel is easier to handle and put on the track. This Christmas, get your boy a train that's built for the way young boys play. A big, rugged Lionel. Lionel, the big train for small hands.
This holiday season, serve the very best at any gathering. Serve delicious chicken tenders from Burger King.
Ain't nothing like the real thing.
Chicken tenders are all white meat breast fillets, not formed bits and pieces of chicken like McNuggets. Plus, they're cooked in 100% vegetable oil. So pick up chicken tenders from Burger King. This holiday, how could you serve anything less than the best?
Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby.
Wednesday on CBS, The Bangles, Sting, Run DMC, The Judge, John Cougar Mellencamp, Stevie Nicks, Michael McDonald, U2, and more in an all-new holiday special. Santa Claus is rocking the town with Top of the Pops.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year!
A very special Christmas, Wednesday.
To you and yours, happy holidays from Friedlander.
What can they leave for Santa?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's great.
We sprinkle cinnamon and sugar for a homemade taste. Part of this complete breakfast.
Happy holidays from Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
With Pillsbury Sugar Cookies, you can help kids create their own Christmas treats.
I made a little angel. Actually, my mommy helped. It was easy. This Santa has a problem. My Santa's cheeks got chubby in the oven. You know how I made it? Frosting and gumdrops. The wing broke off and I ate it.
Everyone loves Pillsbury cookies, fresh and hot. Ho, ho!
Eating's the best, no problem.
Well, unfortunately, we lost Marty Krofft of the Krofft brothers back on Black Friday of last week. And it was a kind of a sad time, actually 2 weeks ago. And it was actually a sad time because a lot of people knew the Krofft brothers. They associated with it on Saturday mornings. They were a Canadian sibling team of television creators, writers, and puppeteers. And though their production company, Sid and Marty Krofft Pictures, they made numerous children's television and variety show programs in the U.S., particularly in the 1970s, including H.R. Pufnstuf, Land of the Lost, and Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. Their fantasy programs often featured large-headed puppets, high-concept plots, and extensive use of low-budget special effects. You know, they were born in Montreal, Quebec on April 9, 1937 and July 30th, 1929, respectively. They are of Greek and Hungarian descent, with their original surname being Yolas. For years, they claimed to have been the fifth generation of puppeteers in their family, but revealed in 2008 that the story had been invented by a publicist in the 1940s. Their father, Peter, was a clock salesman who moved from Canada to Providence, Rhode Island, and then to New York City. Sid Croft became a popular puppeteer who worked in vaudeville and was a featured player with the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. In the 1940s, Sid created a one-man puppet show, The Unusual Artistry of Sid Croft, and performed it throughout the world. His father joined him on tour in Paris while Marty stayed in New York, where he began using his older brother's puppets to earn money by staging performances. By the 1950s, the Croft brothers were working together, and in 1957 they developed Les Poupées de Paris, a puppet show with more mature themes. One of their early exposures to a television audience was the premiere episode of The Dean Martin Show in 1965. So after designing the characters and sets for Hanna-Barbera's The Banana Splits that ran from 68 to 70, the Crofts' producing career began in 69 with the landmark children's television series H.R. Pufnstuf. The series introduced the team's trademark style of large-scale, colorful design puppetry and special effects. Featuring a boy who has been lured into an alternate fantasy world and can never escape, the team also established a storytelling formula to which they would often return. Some people suggested that the Croft brothers were influenced by marijuana and LSD, although they have always denied these claims. In a 2005 interview with USA Today, Marty Krofft said, "No drugs involved. You can't do drugs while you're making shows. Maybe after, but not during. We're bizarre, that's all." Referring to the alleged LSD use, Marty said in another interview, "That was our look. Those were the colors, and everything we did had vivid colors, but there was no acid involved. That scared me. I'm no goody two-shoes, but you can't create this stuff stoned." The Crofts favored quirky superhero stories, often with children portraying the heroes or part of a hero team. Particularly visionary and popular Croft productions have included The Bugaloos in the 70s, Lidsville in 1971, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters from 73 to 75, the popular Land of the Lost from 74 to 76, The Lost Saucer, 1975, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl in 76, and Wonderbug from 76 to 78. In 1976, a developer asked the Crofts to develop an indoor amusement park for their new Omni International Complex downtown Atlanta. The park, the World of Sid and Marty Krofft, closed after 6 months due to poor attendance. The Omni International building that contained it was renamed the CNN Center when the site was converted to the CNN headquarters. The Crofts' children's programs have developed a wide and enduring following, especially among adults who watch the shows as children. They were also responsible for a large number of primetime music and variety programs, and these shows also tended to employ a reliable formula featuring a celebrity host or team of hosts, weekly celebrity guest performers, flashy and colorful sets, and frequent interludes of scripted banter and gag-driven, corny, good-natured sketch comedy. The Crofts are often acknowledged for the vision and creativity of their projects. In addition to their colorful and hyperkinetic programs, they often created children's shows with complex stories, unusual protagonists, and uniquely modern sensibilities, or with darker or more action-themed tones than most children's shows. Their camp popularity stems largely from their show's low-budget production values, the often surrealistic feel of many of the programs, and the uniquely 70s style of music and design. In the later years, the Crofts have occasionally departed from their formula while making new programs, such as on Pryor's Place in 1984 and the political puppet satire show DC Follies in 1987. And I remember that show very well. They have attempted to update some of their classic series for a younger generation, including new versions of Land of the Lost, Electra Woman and Dinah Girl, HR Pufnstuf, and Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. A new original series, Mutt and Stuff, aired on Nickelodeon from 2015 to 2017. They received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Daytime Emmys in 2018. In 2020, the Crofts were honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for their contributions in television. May of 2022, they participated in the first Croft Con, a convention held in Orinda, California. I want to make sure I pronounce that right, where they were joined by some of the actors and also characters from their television series. And this is where we are right now. Marty Krofft died from kidney failure in Los Angeles on November 25th, 2023, at the age of 86. We will miss you very much, Mr. Marty Krofft. So that's a look at the Krofft brothers and their fantastic run at puppetry and all those great shows that we grew up with. And if you have never seen any of these shows, I encourage you to watch the earlier stuff of the Sid and Marty Krofft Brothers production company. They are some of the fantastically produced stuff you will ever see in your lifetime, and no one could ever duplicate that kind of talent or that kind of reaction to a show ever again. It's timeless classics, and I hope you will get a chance to look at them when you have time. Here, whether you go on YouTube or Dailymotion or try to find it somewhere else, that's where it will be. We thank you, Marty Krofft, for your fantastic role in many of these particular company productions. We miss you very much. We honor your passing with great, tremendous respect. And we hope that Sid is doing well, mourning the loss of his younger brother, and continues to stay and hang on here for as long as he possibly can as well. All right. When we come back, we'll be looking at the next of our fantastic books here. We're going to be actually looking at a book of the year, the best book of the year, the one according to Barnes & Nobles and Amazon. And then a lady who had stopped hiding her disability, she opens it up to new worlds. Those two article stories coming up in the next hour of our fantastic show here on StreamYard. I'm Jason DeCanio. We'll be right back.
From Atari, made especially for systems from Atari, the video game that lets you help E.T. get home, just in time for Christmas. Happy holidays from Atari.
Ho, ho, ho! I've got a present for you. See? A Snuggle ornament for the tree. It's free when you buy Snuggle fabric softener.
Look for your free ornament at the Snuggle display in your store.
Have a happy holiday.
The night before Christmas, an Oreo cookie's waiting for a special guest.
I'll just take a little rest.
Ho, ho, ho. the Oreo cookies, eating all the luscious chocolate, licking all the creamy middles, dunking all the crunchy cookies like he did when he was little. It's so hard to hide the kid inside with Christmas and O-R-E-O.
There's a place where Christmas dreams come true. The Kmart Toy Store, where the Turnip Seeds collection is on sale. Look for the Turnip Seeds telephone that gives sounds and messages, the cassette radio, which actually plays music, and Sewmate, the sewing machine that seems like the real thing.
I got a feeling I'm going to get something really good this Christmas.
Kmart, we've got it, and we've got it good. Taste all the ways butter helps your holidays. That time of year is here.
Holiday baking deserves real butter. Make a cinnamon roll tree, sugar cookies, marzipan, and more. Bake ahead. Real butter's baked-in flavor improves with age.
Taste all the ways butter helps you say happy holidays throughout the year.
There's more for your Christmas at Sears.
Save $20 on this Craftsman timing light. Now just $29.99. This special purchase 1.5-ton floor jack is only $29.99. This exercise bike with speedometer, just $99.99. And this cassette car stereo with coaxial speakers is $99.99. So wrap up a beautiful Christmas.
There's more for your life at Sears.
So the boy fell asleep in the Toys R Us store. And he woke up with toys from the ceiling to the floor.
We've got the Nintendo Action Set, including the control deck with double game pack and Zapper light gun for just $99.99 at Toys R Us. And we have all the hottest game cartridges at great everyday low prices.
Love growing up with my Toys R Us kid. Toys R Us. You'll never outgrow us.
Brianna Bell is going to tell us about the best book of the year according to Barnes & Nobles and on Amazon as well. So let's go ahead and look at this. This was updated yesterday on the Reader's Digest. This story called The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. The New York Times bestselling author James McBride, winner of the National Book Award. Yes, if you're in search of a guaranteed good book, you're in luck. It's the season for anyone and everyone to look back on what they read and select the best books of the year. Book lovers around the world will fill their already overflowing TBR list with this year's standout titles, or maybe it's just me. And what better way to kick things off than with a pick from the two biggest book retailers around? Well, Barnes & Nobles and Amazon both just released their annual best books list, and they agreed that The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride wins the top spot this year. Read on to learn about the book and the other top books of 2023. So, what is it about? Well, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store is a gorgeously written fiction book about a community in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, where marginalized groups and their stories weave together. When it opens, it's 1972, and the police have just found a skeleton at the bottom of a well. And before they can gather their remains, a hurricane sweeps through and sweeps away the evidence. The novel rewinds to 1925, transporting readers to a thriving community where Jews like Mosh and Shona Ludlow, owners of the Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, live side by side with African Americans like Dodo, a deaf boy the Ludlows help hide when the state comes to institutionalize him. As the fates of these and other characters unfold, their stories come together with humor and heart. McBride is no stranger to national awards. His previous book, Deacon King Kong, was an Oprah Book Club pick and one of the New York Times best books of the year. He also received the 2013 National Book Award for fiction for The Good Lord Bird. According to Barnes & Noble, booksellers vote annually for the books that made the biggest impact that year, those they're proudest to sell. And while this year the votes produced a wide array of titles and book genres, there was one book that seemed to make a significant mark. Everyone who reads The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store becomes a passionate advocate for the book. You just want others to share in the sheer pleasure it gives, says Barnes & Noble's CEO James Daunt. In James McBride's The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, we have a stunningly good 2023 book of the year, one in which we take great pride and great joy in celebrating. Please read it. Barnes & Noble's also announced that David Grann is the inaugural winner of its Author of the Year award, honoring achievements that span from the 2009 publication of The Lost City of Z to the 2023 release of The Wager and the film adaptation of 2017's Killers of the Flower Moon. Grann's writing style, mixing it thriller-like stakes and riveting history, solidifies him as one of the literary world's essential nonfiction voices, Barnes & Noble's wrote on its site. So how did Amazon choose its best book of the year? Well, they choose the top 100 books by reviewing more than 1,000 titles first, and from there they whittle the list down to 10 books, and only one gets the coveted number one spot. This year, they announced that Heaven and Earth Grocery Store came out on top, so it was a tie between the two places. Between Dragon-Filled Romantasy, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, Murderous Senior Citizens, Holly by Stephen King, and the definitive biography of a legend, King, a legend built by Jonathan Eade. This year's best books list truly that has a great read for everyone, said Sarah Gelman, editorial director for Amazon Books. But it was James McBride's The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store that our team unanimously fell in love with, wanting to spend time with the residents of Pottstown, Pennsylvania's Chicken Hill neighborhood long after the last page was turned. Centered on a mysterious murder, it is at its heart a story of how powerful communities can be and what it means to be an American, and it's also a hopeful and sometimes hilarious reminder of our own capacity for kindness and compassion. And here are the 12 best books of the year according to Barnes & Noble. These are finalists, and they cover everything from fiction to nonfiction to cookbooks and poetry books. So don't miss these must-find reads. You have The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin, The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters, Let Us Descend by Jessamine Ward, The Wager by David Grann, The Puppets by Spellhorse and Kate DiCamillo, The Story of Art Without Men by Katie Hessel, Chili Crisp, 50 recipes to satisfy your spicy, crunchy, garlicky cravings by James Park. The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, Xylot and Other Important Rhymes by Bob Odenkirk, and Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Here are the Amazon's best books of the year. There's usually 12 of those. So, there you have it, friends. Oh, and also, too, Brianna Bell is a writer contributing all things bookish to Reader's Digest. Her work has been featured in the New York Times and the Globe and the Mail, the Guardian, and many other national and international publications. While she's not writing, she's reading, browsing bookstores, or adding to her TBR list. There you have it. Thank you, Brianna, for your fantastic article of the top books of this year, 2023. All right, it's 5:09, and when we come back, we'll look at our final story of the day. She stopped hiding her disability, and it opened up many new worlds and possibilities. We'll look at that fantastic inspirational story, plus the motivation of the day to end our program. All of this and more right after this.
Monday, don't miss a Charlie Brown Christmas with all the Peanuts gang and everyone's favorite beagle, Snoopy.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown!
Then it's up to a kindly clockmaker and some clever mice to make sure Santa comes to town on 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Monday, right after Charlie Brown.
Wake up, toys, or you're gonna miss Christmas Eve with the Kodak disc. Someone got the family a Kodak disc. Just look at all the shots they're not gonna miss. There's never been a time that's better than this to give someone the Kodak disc.
Give someone someone the Kodak Disc camera this Christmas, and if they don't think it's the easiest camera they've ever used, Kodak will give you your money back. Money back.
So when you go out and shop, just remember to stop.
Get someone the Kodak Disc.
People always say it's the thought that counts. So JCPenney thought it would be nice if you could exchange any JCPenney gift at any one of our 1,400 stores without giving it a second thought.
Smarter than ever, JCPenney.
When you're out shopping for the best this busy holiday season, don't forget about McDonald's Chicken McNuggets. McNuggets come from only the best cuts of chicken, plump, tender breast, or juicy thigh. No wonder they're so good. McDonald's Chicken McNuggets.
It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
During this special time of year, don't forget to give the gift everyone loves to take back. A $5 book of McDonald's gift certificates.
Does Daddy like it?
Your daddy loves Old Spice.
I love the smell of my daddy.
This Christmas, give your men the clean, masculine scent of Old Spice.
I love the smell of Daddy. And so does Mommy.
Give him the gift he'll love, Old Spice.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
Santa Claus.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled down to a long winter's nap.
Dad, it still works.
There's no better gift than the sound of your voice.
Have a Merry Melodies Christmas on Bugs Bunny's Looney Christmas Tales. Then, it's an all-new holiday special, Santa Bear's High-Flying Adventure, 2 Christmas treats Thursday.
A Christmas gift from Radio Shack.
Before Christmas, they claimed they were bored. But then I found Radio Shack's incredible selection of electronic games. He's rescuing the fair maiden with the Kingman game. She's exploring dangerous new worlds with Zackman. And with the Alien Chase game, he can do space battle with an opponent or by himself. There are more gifts if anyone's bored. I won!
Fascinating electronic games from $7.95 to $59.95, only at Radio Shack.
Come meet my special Disney friend.
We're here. We're all here.
Now, only at Hardee's when you buy any sandwich, fries, and Coca-Cola. Get a Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Donald, or Uncle Scrooge stuffed toy for only $1.99. Collect all 5. A great gift value for kids of all ages.
It's all here at Hardee's.
The JCPenney last-minute sale.
'Tis the week before Christmas.
You haven't bought a thing. 10 cousins waiting. 9 presents missing.
Save on all better watches.
8 ideas lacking.
Women's robes at terrific prices.
7 boxes empty.
And Stafford Oxford dress shirts.
Why sale now too? So don't despair. We'll help you. We're open late. And everything you see is on sale. JCPenney.
Well, Ruth Rothblatt, as told to Charlotte Hilton Anderson, stopped hiding her disability and it opened up new worlds for her. Well, we'll see about that in this inspiring great story that was updated July 31st of this year. Everyone is hiding something, but embracing that secret part of yourself can change everything. My birth was a little more dramatic than the standard way a baby enters the world. Within minutes of coming out, I was whisked away into another room while doctors gave my parents the difficult news. I was born missing my left hand. I'm sure it was quite jarring for them. An entire hand was just not there. As surprising as it was at the time, it isn't super rare. Every year, around 1 in 1,500 babies born in the United States has a limb difference, according to the CDC. And having extra fingers or toes is the most common limb difference. My form, called amniotic band syndrome, is more rare, occurring in 1 out of every 10,000 to 15,000 births. Regardless of the form the disability takes, these families have to learn all the ins and outs of navigating that disability, from finding accessible travel to building confidence in their kids from day one. Indeed, that announcement of my limb difference would come to define the rest of my life, and it might have been a disaster if it hadn't been for what happened next. I'm told that a nurse bundled me up, took me into the room, placed me in my mother's arms, and instructed, "You will take her home, you will love her, you will raise her like you would any child, and you will treat her as normal, which is exactly what happened. Well, my parents took that admission seriously, and for the most part, it was great. I played sports, acted in theater, excelled in school, participated in student government, and had play dates with friends. While I did get some stares and polite questions about my disability, I am lucky because I wasn't made fun of for my limb difference. As kids do, I quickly learned to adapt, working around the missing hand. One of my earliest memories is my father trying to teach me to tie my shoes. I gently nudged him out of the way because his two-handed method wouldn't work for me, and I figured out a way to do it with one hand. Not every challenge was that simple, however, because my parents were trying so hard to make me feel normal, that also meant I didn't really have space to walk about my limb difference or to talk about it. And it was different. No matter how we tried to reframe it, other kids had two hands and I only had one. So, as you can see, that's where probably her missing hand is right there. I think the other picture that shows it as well. Yes, right here as well too. We'll put that up on the screen of the pointer right there. Okay. So you've probably seen that before where that's missing hands, but nothing happened as far as anything was different as that. She tried to reframe it. They had two hands and she only had one. So why did she start hiding her disability? Well, the fact that I was different hit me hard my first day of high school. I was 13, an age when kids are already very self-conscious and the need to fit in is magnified. I remember getting on the yellow school bus and one of the kids stared just a little too long at my left arm. The staring unnerved me in a way it never had before, and I felt a sudden urge to hide my hand, so I impulsively slipped it into my pocket. I told myself that I'd just hide it that way one day while I was trying to make friends. But one day of hiding turned into a week, which turned into a month, which became years, 25 of them to be exact. I spent the next 2 decades keeping my limb difference hidden at all times. I'd keep it in my pocket, covered with extra long sleeves, or tuck it behind bags or underneath jackets. But the thing about hiding is that the very act implies there is something bad or wrong, or else why would you need to hide it? In my mind, I had decided that my missing hand made me hideous, and that if people knew about it, they would be scared of me and not want to be around me anymore. I internalized this self-loathing, and it only strengthened over the years. Honestly, I was terrified that if I exposed my limb difference, that people would find me as ugly as I found myself. I felt lonely and scared all the time. Making friendships felt challenging enough, but trying to find love felt particularly daunting. And as I started dating, I made deliberate efforts to hide my limb difference. Eventually, we reached a point in our relationship where I knew I had to tell them. I agonized over the big reveal and built it up in my mind and theirs for days. I'd tell them, there's something I really need to tell you, and then leave them there to imagine what terrible thing I was hiding. When I had steeled myself, I'd call them on the phone and say abruptly, I was born missing my left hand, and then immediately hung up before they could respond. I'd wait in shame and fear for them to call me back, which they all did to their credit. But even then, I couldn't bear to talk about it, so I let it go to the answering machine and then listened to their message later. Everyone I shared this with, friend, coworker, or enemy, or boyfriend for that matter, took it well and said kind things like, you shouldn't hide it, or it's no big deal. But the words didn't matter to me. The only words that really mattered were the ones I was telling myself. That story of how I was awful and unworthy of love. Hiding feels a lot like lying, and it's hard to build close relationships when you constantly feel like you're lying to your loved ones. And the more you hide, the harder it becomes to stop hiding. Interestingly enough, it was a date that convinced me to stop hiding my limb difference. When I was 38 years old, exhausted of hiding and so lonely, I met someone special and invited them in. The combination of me finally feeling ready to unhide and his willingness to go through the unhiding process with me was exactly what I needed. For the first time in my life, I allowed someone to really hold my limb, look at it, take pictures, touch it, love me. And that relationship ended after 10 years, but I kept the self-love and compassion I learned from it. From that point on, I saw my limb difference as something unique and beautiful about me, something that should be shown, not hidden. It was a transformational experience, and through that period, I learned a lot and learned to love me too. This ability to love myself changed how I lived my entire life, and it made me happier. It started with physical care, and for years I'd gotten frostbite on my left hand every winter because I'd shove it so deep into my pocket that I wouldn't feel it freezing. Unhiding it meant learning to take care of it, learning little things like how to keep it warm and protect it from the elements. My relationships also improved. I learned that being comfortable with myself made other people more comfortable as well. Talking about my struggles gave them permission to talk about theirs too. And I was able to bond on a deeper level with a much larger group of people. I wasn't lonely anymore. I finally found my tribe because I wasn't so focused on hiding myself. I started looking around me and noticing other people with limb differences. There are a lot of us. It was through one of these new friends that I discovered the Lucky Finn Project, an organization dedicated to people with all types of limb differences. I eventually joined the organization's board to help raise awareness and more deeply advocate for my community. So she wrote a book, Ruth Rathblot, called Single-Handedly. And for 25 years, I'd worked in nonprofit organizations working with young people. But accepting my disability sparked a passion in me to educate others about disability as part of diversity through public speaking and writing. I pivoted my career, and my mission now is to expand the conversation about disability and work with organizations to their employees, and so their employees can also unhide and thrive as well. She also wrote a book, Single-Handedly, Learning to Unhide and Embrace Connection, last year, and it focuses on her journey of hiding and learning to unhide, the need for disability to be included in diversity conversations. Now I'm building a global movement and community among our community around unhiding. Excuse me. We often think of diversity in relation to race, gender, and sexual orientation. Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water here. And we often leave out the largest minority group, people with a disability. Diversity is about valuing different perspectives and experiences, and disabilities offers a beautiful and different perspective, yet we very rarely hear it. Disabilities can be visible, like mine, or invisible, like mental health, neurodiversity, or a chronic illness. And whatever form they take, they are life-changing in positive and challenging ways. This is why it's so important for people with a disability to be able to talk about it openly, and why it's so important for people without a disability to learn how to be an ally and an advocate. So here are a few steps you can take to do that. Starts with educating yourself. This starts with understanding and examining your own beliefs about disability. Challenge negative thoughts you have about the people with different disabilities. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch shows, or talk to others to understand their experience better. Not sure where to start? Check out the resources guide on her website. And watch how you ask questions. Everyone's curious about missing my hand, and curiosity is normal. But before you ask someone a question about their disability, ask yourself, why do I need to know this? Are you asking out of kindness and a desire to support them? Or is it to satisfy your personal curiosity? Examine your motives. And don't make assumptions about people's abilities. People with disabilities have learned to accommodate and adapt in ways you can't even imagine. Ask how you can support someone instead of just taking over, and please respect physical boundaries. Just because someone looks different doesn't give us permission to touch their difference without permission. And another thing to keep in mind, not all disabilities are visible, so please don't demand to know why someone has a disability placard on their card. And if I've learned one thing through my advocacy work, is that hiding is universal. My missing hand is just a tool to talk about it. One of the things I do in my workplace seminars is give each person a blank postcard, tell them to write what they are hiding, and then anonymously mail it back to me. People have shared hiding mental health issues, family challenges, abuse, financial problems, their age, their faith, political views, education status, addiction, neurodiversity, physical challenges, and the list goes on, but they all start somewhere. And I've never told anyone about this. Hiding things, especially from loved ones, is exhausting and isolating, and it prevents us from getting help and support. So why do we all do it? It's that primal shame for being different and the fear of being rejected for our differences. It's such a universal experience, yet we all feel like we can't talk about it. It's time to change that. In her book, she gives 4 steps to unhide whatever it is you're feeling. So first she tells you to acknowledge what you're hiding, then invite someone in, build your community, and share your story. Unhiding is the key to connection. And when we do this, we create a beautiful space, safe space where everyone can feel seen and loved for who they are and know that they belong. Hiding holds all of us back. Unhiding sets all of us free. Great story. Thank you, Ruth Rathblott. Renowned speaker and nonprofit leader and TEDx speaker also. Look up those interesting seminars at the TEDx on YouTube. There are fantastic topics for all of you out there. All right. We also have a comment too. Okay. Great. Made it home. Safe. Welcome home, Emu. All right. Let's now go to our motivation of the day to end our program. And we hope that you had a fantastic day with us today on this Monday, December 4th, 2023. And tomorrow will be another great show on episode 81. Now for the Daily Motivator by Ralph Marston. I got to actually remove this. And I got to put the new screen up. Okay. New tab. And let's see what we have for today's motivation. Okay. This is by, of course, Ralph Marston. He is a very intellectual person speaking highly with inspiration. And today's Daily Motivator for Monday, December 4th goes like this. Enjoy the day. Enjoy your life. Bask in the sunshine when it appears. Revel in awe at the drama of storms that occasionally pass through. Walk through the seasons with steady intention. Find wonder as you wander across the truths of existence. You're sure to encounter trouble and pain, but they don't have to stop you. Use your strength to keep going, for there's always beauty ahead. Something new, someone fascinating is waiting to be seen, appreciated, treasured. Delight in the discoveries you're able to make, the genuine good you're able to do, and whatever the day holds, decide to enjoy it. Experience again and again how beneficial and fulfilling such a choice can be. Well, there you have it, folks. Another great story from our friend Ralph Marston. Fantastic story. I think it's great. And one thing to realize is that you always have a place here on the David 3000 Network, where you can have fantastic topics and all that other great stuff, and know that there will always be inspiration behind each of those stories. Well, don't forget also, too, to check out football tomorrow on Wednesdays at 7:30 Eastern p.m. on the David 3000 Network with Let's Talk Football. I'll be also there, too. And, of course, new episodes of Wipe Those Tears following Let's Talk Football at 9 p.m. Eastern Time with Mark Leota, Brandon Bogard, and Gianni Pizzi. I'm Jason DeCanio for tonight. Thank you very much for a fantastic, great show. We hope to see you tomorrow for more great topics and others right here at DMS 3000 News Live. Remember, be honest, be real, keep it simple, stupid. Yes. Have a great evening. Good night.
Don't forget to subscribe to the David 3000 Network for great more content like this one.